Hello everyone, welcome to our Let's Play series of Disco Elysium. This is Colonel RPG as usual, and I'm very happy that you chose to join me today as I talk to Joyce Messier over here, the lady in the boat, as she tells us all about the world of Disco Elysium, with a lot of really little nuances and sort of subtle tales in her dialogue and all that. What is... I'm gonna think of something close to me.
It remains a mystery what you mean by this something close. This isn't about you. It's about reality.
Well, I failed that, didn't I? Oh, the close to me might have been Kim or something. I think I passed this in my first playthrough. I want to know what you are. She hums. What are you?
I am the vilest of the vile. A traitor, a devourer of nations and infants.
She says with a sudden flash of teeth.
I am an ultra.
She raises the corner of her mouth, smirking, revealing a canine. It's sharp.
Dios mío, a liberal. Love it. We know what an ultra is. In fact, I was gonna say that I was an ultra already, but I'm not. Cool. I liberate pretty hard myself.
No,
She shakes her head slowly.
not like me. I am the nether creature of the Forbidden Swamp who pushed the king under a shitwagon and betrayed the revolution. Are you liberated enough to offer up your home on a plate for financial colonists?
She looks you in the eye.
No, I think not. Tell me, now that I've uncoiled myself, do you find me frightening?
In her green eyes, you see a mixture of truth and self-satire. Decades of guilt and pride.
Truth and self-satire is all over dialogue. In fact, it's all of Disco Elysium. But yeah, you're a monster, communist. I forgive you, moralist. I forgive you, but only because you're charming, ultra-liberal. I don't care, fascist. Potentially centrist or something, whatever. I don't think there's a fifth road. But there, if you try to not commit to any ideology, the game does tell you that you're a wuss. I forgive you, but only because you're charming.
A devil,
She pronounces.
who being of great charm and guile sneaketh into the homes of the godly.
Beneath her waterproof raincoat and silk shirt is a body imbibed in numb 12 perfume. You are suddenly and intimately aware of it.
Wanna fuck?
Steal, kill, and destroy.
She counters quick as a whip.
That they say we've been doing for over 4 decades now. Perhaps regrettably. I've had my fill for this century.
The lieutenant hums, reading his notes.
In any case, I'm glad we can remain collegial despite my scaly bulk, and my perverse need to infiltrate and betray both kingdom and revolution. When the dust settled, the liberals were the only ones left to clean up the mess. By virtue of their survival, they were handed enormous power to shape the future.
She turns her gaze to the Delta.
This was all our last generation managed.
Would you have done something differently?
With due respect to our overlords, the eternal caretaker government that keeps Martinez a monument to the efficacy of its artillery.
While a gentle wind sweeps the streets in the rebuilt east, light drizzle washing it clean, lights go up and motor carriages circulate the tracks.
I would not have relinquished sovereignty to the coalition. Not here in Martinez, and not in the Stella Maris or Delta Beachheads either. If not for my own sake.
She realizes her small, cold fists are clenched. She loosens them.
Then for my daughters. We had an obligation to defend our sovereignty. We should have burned the whole Isola down rather than let them have it.
Is she not an ultra? Is this a dog whistle? For us, not... Also, it's also a dog whistle in real life. There are 14 words that are used. If you look up the 14 words, their motto. They're like the motto of the moralists in this game, but they're the motto of fascists in real life. I think we must protect the future of our people and of our white children. That doesn't sound like 14 words. It's something like that. But specifically the reference to the future and to the children is oftentimes used as a dog whistle. And if you don't know what a dog whistle is, it's something that you say so that other people who are in your milieu, or like who are keyed into your faction or whatever, however you think or who you are, other people who are already part of that faction or that way of thinking can understand that you're talking about them or to them, and people who are not don't. That's why it's like a dog whistle, a whistle that only dogs can hear. So if you mention the future of our children, and obviously not everybody that says the future of our children is doing a dog whistle. It depends if it's done with intent or not, and that's the real question. But in this case, I think it might be. There's other dog whistles that are easier to see, and this game has a lot of them. Actually, we earlier saw scab, for example. The usage of the word scab can be used as a dog whistle because not everybody knows what it is, and people who are more of a socialist persuasion normally would understand what scab means. And specifically using that word can mean that you sympathize with worker rights and stuff like that. And obviously this game comes from that perspective, and so it is also used as a dog whistle. So that's why I'm wondering if she is actually what she means by that. You're a patriot. An ultra-liberal wouldn't be necessarily a patriot every time. It's very complicated to see it like that because, political affiliations aren't a done and dusted sort of thing where you can only be one thing. You can advocate for the free international market and still be a white supremacist piece of shit. In fact, well, let's not. Either way, the point is, yeah, you're a patriot?
Yes, I suppose I am. But I wouldn't be a patriot anywhere but here.
Seditious talk, man.
The lieutenant puts his notes down and gives her a look. I'm gonna go with it. The jam mystery. Interrogate the drivers about the smuggling. Yeah. Ooh, I got a level up. This is fantastic. This is absolutely brilliant. Let's do it. So unlock that. So we're also gonna go with Jamais-vous, because I kind of want that. But I also want to go with the interact nodes of things. Let's do this one, because it's gonna take a little while. You're a smart woman.
Perhaps.
Her earrings chime as she nods.
My intellectual vanity will be my undoing.
And you have daughters?
Yes. Whatever else I am, I'm also a mother and a wife.
She closes her eyes and then opens them again.
Now, shall we return to reality?
My conceptualization is terrible as well. What is, and I'm going to reach for something fundamental.
A strange coldness comes over you as you look at the world. The waves sway the sloop slowly. That's all. The doubt is fully formed in your head. The alien feeling persists. You just can't word the question yet. You have to complete the jamais-vu thought first.
Must I? That's not giving me... I didn't even check. Yeah. I didn't even check if there were temporary research bonuses. Although, the game does tell me in advance if there's going to be temporary research bonuses. It just doesn't tell me what they're going to be after the thought is completed. What is this? I'm going to spread my hands.
A bird?
She tilts her head.
A sphenicid? A flightless bird of the polar regions?
Am I really that awkward?
Of course you're not, my dear. I'm just terrible at guessing games.
I meant, what is this place here?
Ah,
She spreads her arms almost as wide.
this is the pier of Rue de Saint-Ghislain, 33A, where the tenants have been kind enough to rent me a slot. Or two.
She looks around. What is the Rue de Saint-Ghislain, 33A? I'm pretty sure that's not pronounced correctly. The H must change the G, right? Because in Romance languages, usually the G before an I or an E will be read J, so the soft J, and before everything else will be read G, so the hard version of the letter.
A pre-revolutionary tenement. Old buildings are called tenements, you see. And new buildings, bâtiments. After les bâtiments nouveaux. But 33A and 33B are not nouveaux. They're old.
She looks up at the crumbling facade.
This one used to be 8 to 10 stories tall. A real high-rise by the standards of the last century. Built to mirror the skyscrapers across the bay in the Delta. That was before the war, of course.
Who lived in them?
Mostly the urban middle class, I believe. This was once primo real estate, before the cannons lopped 4 or 5 stories off. Splat, splat.
From a dilapidated balcony, a young girl in odd clothes gives Joyce the evil eye, a red paintbrush held to her throat.
You could be wrong, but from here it appears as if she's running the brush across her throat in a soaring motion.
Wonderful.
What is that? I'm gonna point to Cindy the skull.
The girl in the old lady rags.
Yes.
Looks like a sullen and rebellious member of a teen infraculture.
Infraculture.
Yes, you and I belong to the supraculture. We're common, the herd. The music on the radio, the food in the chain restaurant, those are all too popular for the girl in the old lady rags. She prefers a fantasy world, an infraculture with its own dress code and vernacular. It is an illusion, I'm afraid. There is no refuge from the supraculture.
I understand everything. Make it more complicated somehow.
I can't. That's how simple it is. One may dye their hair green and wear their grandma's coat all they want. Capital has the ability to subsume all critiques into itself. Even those who would critique capital end up reinforcing it instead.
Yeah. She's actually not being as complicated as it gets. This only happen. It doesn't necessarily have to happen. It's the ultimate we live in a society sort of meme or stance. It's the capital does work like that, but the critique of capital doesn't have to reinforce capital because you can be subversive of capital as long as you are aware of the implication. That said, I don't think that is a moralist sense, or that a moralist person in this world or a liberal-minded person would be able to understand it like that. I say like that as if liberals in real life just cannot comprehend systemic causes. I literally said it in a way that just, people who think that it's all down to the individual choices of us, they just can't understand, mate. It's just how it goes. No, I don't mean it like that. It's just we're dealing with caricatures in the game, and obviously I'm reacting to the caricatures in the game. But for her specifically, I think she would not be able to see the power of subversive action. And that power must be educated in a way, and when I say educated, I mean conscious. It needs to be aware of what it's doing. Because, for example, things as simple as you have a company that does charity work, for example, or charity work is a good example. If your company does charity work and gives money to charity, through your actions, you might be ending up propping up the very system that creates the conditions, the material conditions, the systemic conditions that make you have to do charity work. It's the thing that I was talking about before. You want to be good, but in wanting to be good, you forget that the system itself should be good in the first place. And you don't have to forget that naturally. It's just you don't always have to reinforce capital when you critique capital. only if you're pursuing capital, and when I say capital, I mean money. Only if you're trying to turn a profit in your critique. Not necessarily even if you're a grifter, because you can be a grifter and obviously you're trying to be as profitable as possible in your critique of capital, and there's grifters everywhere. That's not the point. Even if you're a very fair-minded, probably is not necessarily the word that I want to use, but if you're honest in your critique, and even if you're doing your utmost to be as subversive as possible, if you're not aware of the ways, even cultivating an audience, even the process of cultivating an audience is capable of reinforcing the systemic principles that we live under. Even that. So, everything cultivates capital until you realize all those bits. And then it's just very difficult to survive in society because you're not going to be able to cultivate an audience because it just goes against those principles. So if you want to spread the word, it's so very difficult. And that's why, yeah, it subsumes all critiques into itself. Not all of them, but the vast majority of them. She pauses to take a long, leisurely sip of tea.
All right. What next?
That's all for now.
Glad to have been of assistance. The little that I know. Anything else?
Yeah. You seem rich. Can I have some money?
Is what you want to say, but it isn't that easy, is it?
What? Why not?
Look at that lady. Take a gander. Squint your eyes, bub.
What lustrous hair.
A well-kempt, yet tastefully short bob of dark hair. Despite the first hints of grey, she's elected to keep it au naturel, shaped into a permanent wave, late 40s style, positively statuesque, while dull orange pearls hang from her earlobes, red from the cold. Her light green eyes scan you, full of knowledge and worry, wealth and all its possibilities.
Yeah, so?
Now look at you, you misery-clad simian, barely able to tie your own laces. Your armpits are lakes, a scythe of booze precedes you. Your hair sticks to your forehead and your underwear feels uncomfortable. You're poor, poor as balls. You can't ask this person for money. You're too...
Huh. Oh, that's lovely. This is so... ashamed. Yeah. I don't know that the game is going to go into detail about why this is interesting, this question. But I will go into detail. Capital, the free market specifically, not capitalism itself, although capitalism as well, but the free market specifically has a really strong power of convincing people that they're not richer because of their own choices or their own inabilities or their own fault. And so when you're not rich, when you're poor, you're ashamed. And that's just reinforced throughout society. It's very, everything reinforces that. It's the things that you own that other people are not as cool for not owning them, and you flaunt your things that are nice. And it's the bus that you ride, and the other person has a car or the job that is not as nice or whatever. There's so many all throughout reality, all throughout society. We're talking about reality here. That's not even a Freudian slip. That's absolutely what the game is talking about. All throughout society, we're just given all those reinforcements of where we should be ashamed for not having more. It feels cliche of me to make the distinction between being and having here, but it is exactly where... I don't know if it's not very common for people to make this. It used to be more of a thing back in like 20 years or 30 years ago. But among thinkers and all that, the distinction between having and being basically gets blurred in free market capitalism. And that's on purpose. And when I say on purpose, obviously, I don't mean that's one person that made up, I know, I'm going to implement free market capitalism. No, it's a system that is optimized by itself to be as optimized as possible in this regard, and obviously making people ashamed that they don't consume more. is a very, very important tool to make sure that people consume more, and it's everywhere. But also realizing that is very difficult. Understanding that you shouldn't feel ashamed for not having more. In fact, a lot of times you should feel proud of not having more, of being able to live with less. Not that you don't want to have more, but you shouldn't be ashamed of not having more. And realizing that is very difficult, because we are products of our world. We want more. I want to have this boat that is in front of her. I want to have the nice bob of hair and the thermal cup, whatever that's supposed to be, because it's clearly not a thermos. Also, a thermos is a brand. English is weird. But I don't. We don't have this boat or the nice armpits. And we're ashamed. And like a true ultra-liberal, I will be ashamed.
Yes, you're too ashamed to ask this person for money. Too scared to belittle yourself in her eyes. Those half-precious stones of Odinel.
As I was saying,
Her voice breaks the silence, and suddenly you're back again. Nearby, a seagull pecks at a piece of garbage.
if there's any way I may be of assistance, please don't hesitate to ask.
And now I must succeed at a volition check. I'm gonna say it, though. Can I have some money? I'm gonna die.
I am sorry. It just doesn't come out of your mouth. What does is...
Excuse me? I didn't hear you.
Her voice is kind, a little hoarse from the wind.
What you meant to say was...
I thank you, that's all for now.
Of course, Detective. Take care.
Huh. Well, I don't remember her dialogue going that way the first time I met her. I remember the circumstances under which I met her the first time I played the game. And boy, were they... This game feels so vague at the beginning when you don't know what you're doing. Right now, I'm like, I'm a man on a mission right now. I know exactly what I'm doing. I know where I could go. I know what happens. I don't actually know what happens because the checks and all that. But I know that I could go and pet the whatever that little box with the mail things, or go ring on some bells, or I could go play some ball, or I could go check the freaking awfulness that I know exists. But no, we're not going there. Or I could also go over here. I know exactly what that does. You should go over there, by the way. If you're playing this game for yourself, go over there. Go over there and look around. Important things. What I am doing, though, is I am going to go meet Call Me Mañana. I maybe should talk to these old fellas over here as well. The bench? Wasn't this the bench that we messed with, Kim, before? I also could go and call up my police station. I could go and deal with the truck drivers. What I'm doing right now, though, I'm not going to Mañana right away. What I'm doing is I'm looking around for bottles, because I do want to get more frita things. And potentially get a bottle of wine. And definitely not, you know, intoxicate myself. Why did you zoom out? I know what's in there. I also know what's in here. Isn't this the, what's the name of the thing? The pawn shop. I think so. Hey, do you have salami? Excuse me.
G'day to you, officers.
Yeah. I don't have salami. I could also interact with that thing.
A couple of indicator lights are missing from this control panel. Loose wires dangle from the now vacant holes. In the middle is a lever. Beneath it, a small metal plaque. This panel usually closes the waterlock, turning it into a bridge that lets you cross the canal. But there's a crashed salmon and butter sign in the way. Pulling the lever probably won't do anything.
Yeah, it's not going to do anything. Let's leave. It's definitely not going to do anything. I know that. And I'm using that to my advantage. Let's go into the pawn shop. We're not going to be able to sell our bottles, but at least we're going to be able to talk to... I don't remember whom. Kim goes over there. There you are. No, don't go outside. interact with that thing. What is it? Some kind of machine. An antique cash register. A bust of a woman. The plaque simply says, Day. Oh yeah! I know who that is. In the dark, a film projector is whirring away. Yeah, we're gonna learn about Day later. Don't worry. It's nothing that we absolutely need to know right now. Mostly military wear with a few more eccentric fashions thrown in. And we got some... Welcome to the pawn shop, says the man behind the thing. Oh yeah, there's some speakers over there. Oh, there's a tape recorder. I'm gonna be able to sing karaoke. Yeah, there's some figurines over there and whatnot. Excuse me.
It's not often that I see officers from the RCM in my pawn shop.
The man at the counter turns to you slowly.
What can I do for you?
He asks.
His courtesy is not insincere, but he prefers being alone with his projector, just watching the movement of light across the walls of the shop.
Now that the RCM is here, tell me, have you had any trouble lately?
I haven't had any problems myself, though some of my customers have complained about inconsistent law enforcement.
Who are your customers usually?
All kinds of people come through here. Locals, travelers, people looking for a deal, people looking for a keepsake, people who are terminally bored. As you can see, I have a wide selection of goods for everyone to choose from.
This business plan is all over the place. You should specialize, zoom in, recapitalize.
It keeps me entertained.
He responds, unimpressed with your business school snobbery.
He's well composed, but underneath it you sense psychedelic processes bubbling. Some kind of drug, maybe. Entertained? He might be high. If he is, on what?
Good question. Will I be able to pass that check with my electrochemistry pens? There's something I'd like to sell.
Let me have a look.
I'd like to sell my clothes.
I'm not purchasing any more clothing at the moment.
He looks you up and down quickly. I'll check my pockets.
Anything else you're thinking of selling?
Oh. So I can sell the lieutenant's handkerchief. I'm not going to sell the lieutenant's handkerchief. Or the kind green ape pen. I may need a pen. The dock worker shift card. That's quite expensive. And the empty cassette case. Huh. Yeah, let's save this for later. I don't have anything to sell at the moment.
Another time, perhaps.
Perhaps. But not right now. I have other business to take care of. And another episode to go and record. Because this one is done. I'm Colonel RPG, and this has been Disco Elysium. I really hope you've enjoyed it. And if you did, go ahead and leave a comment, like the video. But above all, thank you so much for watching. And I hope I'll see you next episode. Bye-bye.